Welcome back, Northwest Angling. I am not out on the beach today, as you can see. I'm currently sitting in my kitchen. I'm keeping out the bad weather. I was out yesterday morning, Vale Park, bagged up on rays, whiting and dogs, in rough conditions to be fair, 40-mile-an-hour winds, rain, bit of a lumpy sea, but we had a successful session. So just while obviously the conditions are a little bit rough, and you've probably seen on my channel over the last couple of videos that I have been using the 2-hook clip dongle rig. Yeah, really starting to like this rig. You know, I've had really good success, not just myself, but other anglers as well. You know, bagging up on all kinds of species, huss rays, whiting, dogs, yeah, everything really. So I just thought to take the opportunity today just to go through the components of the rig, how we make it and things like that. So for those who are wanting to try the 2-hook clip dongle rig, then you know you can follow the steps on this and hopefully you can have just as much success as I have in the last couple of sessions. So let's get into it, let's get into the components, and yeah, we'll talk you through how you set the rig up. Right, so let's go through the components that you're going to need, and we'll start obviously with the line. Line I like to use is ASSA Ultraflex in 70 pound, that's for the rig body. I also use that for my shock leaders as well. Hook lengths, Maxima Chameleon, that's 50 pounds. I've had that for a very long time, as you can see, but absolutely superb. We need some braid for your dongles. So I think that's £300, just cheap stuff really. Don't need to go expensive with that, but yeah, thick braid you're gonna need. And then the components for the rig body. So we'll start at the bottom. You've got any sort of bait clip there, so I'm gonna use a splashdown with this. You're gonna need 4 crimps. You're also gonna need 5 beads, a spring. Now this is obviously quite important for this rig. A large swivel to the top of your rig. You've got a smaller swivel there for one of your snoods, a cascade swivel, again, very important. We've also got the 3.0 mustard demon circles that I've been using, which absolutely loving these hooks at the hooks at the moment. Absolutely brilliant. And then we've also got 2 of the dongle rings there. That's obviously for clipping up and stuff like that. So that's pretty much all you need for this rig, from top to bottom. So what I'll do is I'll get some line together, get some components on it. I won't show you myself tying all that, you know, just to keep the video a little bit shorter. But yeah, I'll do that now and we'll bring you back. Right, okay, so there we go. We've got all the components onto our rig body now. So the actual rig body itself is probably about the same size as me. I am 5'11". So that is roughly around about the whole size of the rig body, which then potentially gives me around about, what, just over 2 foot snoods when you combine obviously your dongle as well. And that's something you need to bear in mind, guys, when you're making this rig. You know, you've got your snood length, but then what you need to take into account for is that extra couple of inches as well for your dongle as well. So we'll go through obviously how that looks on the actual rig. Hopefully you can see this. I'll try and zoom in as best I can. So on the bottom here, you've got your bait clip. Obviously you've got your bait clip. As I say, you can use any type of bait clip. You can use the imp. I've got obviously the splashdown here. You can use the kickers, the trident rotos. It's entirely up to you what you use. And then what we've got a crimp, we've got a bead, we've got the cascade swivel, which is at the bottom. That's on your bottom snood. You've got a bead, another crimp. So that's to obviously keep in place your bottom snood. Then we go to another crimp, a bead, and then we've got that spring. And the reason that we add that spring in is to keep that top hook length under tension when it clips into this cascade swivel here. Very important that, and when you are actually clipping this up, it's very important that that spring is under tension. So we've got the spring, we've got another bead, we've got another swivel there for your hook length, another bead, and then we've got another crimp. So we haven't put the hooks and that on yet, but we'll do that in a minute. And then, so that is at the bottom end. Well, say the bottom end, that's basically how you put your things on, and then we'll put them in place in a bit. And then obviously you've got at the top, and as I say, it's a really, really long rig. And then we have got your top power swivel there. So that is basically all the components that you need for this rig. So what I'll do is I will now get some hook lengths together, get them sorted, tie the hooks on, etc., get the dongles on, and then yeah, we'll follow the next step. Right, so I'll quickly just show you how I tie on the hooks. I literally just use a perfection loop. So what I do is make a little loop like that, tag end, get your hook, pass it over to the tag end, and then what you want to do is this little bit of tag end here, you want to go around the back of your loop, and then through the 2 loops, pinch it, and then your hook comes up onto this bit of loop here, this little small loop that you've created. Pull that up, pass your hook through, pull it back down, so you want to make your loop as small as possible, tighten it up, and just get me, pull that, there we go, pull that, there we go, pull that, and there we are. So hopefully, let's get it on the paper, there we go. Really, really easy, simple as that. So I have made this hook length a little bit bigger, but what I will do is I will cut it down to size eventually when I've got my dongle on. I've got both hooks on the snoods now, so it's time to do your dongle. Whatever sort of hook, clip, whatever you use on the end of your dongle, just tie that on the end. I usually just go 1, 2, 3, back through, pull that down tight. There we go, done. So there's that. And I just want to tie a couple of loops in my dongle, and that just keeps you... Hello. The missus has just walked in. Yeah, so just tie a couple of loops in that, and then one at the top. And there we go. Double that one at the top actually, just gives it a bit more security when you're attaching your hook. There we go. And then, so there we go. So that is going to be the length of my dongle. Cut that off. And there we are. Small compact baits. So I'll grab my hook length now. With your dongle braid, what you want to do is just literally just nick that in. Get it in the centre. Pull it over, there we go. And there we have your dongle, really easy. So there we go, so we've got both our dongles onto the hooks now, and the hook lengths are ready. But I'm not going to attach these just yet to the rig body, just because I know that these 2 hook lengths now are too long for my actual body. You're not going to be able to clip it up. Like I said, so what I've added probably maybe 2.5 inches to the end there, and that's why it's so important that you need to get these right. So don't be attaching it on and then putting your dongle on. Always do your dongle and attach your hook lengths last, because as you can see, you know, that is quite a long hook length now. I know I'm going to have to cut it down, so what I'll do is I'll mark it up now against obviously the rig body, cut it down to where I need it to be, and then tie it onto me swivels. That's quite important really. But there we go, we've got both hooks, dongles on now. As I say, I'll literally just cut these up now to the length that I need, and there we go. So I'll cut them down, probably give me eventually around about 1.5 foot, 2 foot maybe in length for my hook lengths, which is exactly what I've been using anyway. So yeah, we'll get them trimmed down, get them on the rig body, and then we'll show you how you put the tension on the hook lengths and clip it up. We've now got our snoods onto the rig body. So top one, bottom one, as I say, they're both exactly the same length as well. So what I've had to do is I've had to cut them down to obviously make sure that when we clip it up, they're not too big, because if they are, again, you know, you've got to take into consideration, as I say, attaching your dongles. One thing you are going to need now is a lead. So weight on the bottom. So attach your lead to the bottom here, your bait clip. I'm going to take it into the next room now anyway, because what I usually do now is I usually hang it off a nail on a door frame. So obviously it's all hanging freely and it's so much easier then to clip up. So we'll take it over there and then we'll show you how we clip it up. Right, okay, so the top there, as I say, we've got a screw, we've got the top swivel, which is hanging off the screw. So your rig body now is completely under tension, much easier than you've got obviously hands to work with. What I've done is I've clipped the top dongle over the screw so it keeps the top hook length out the way for when you're doing your bottom one. I've got an 8-ounce lead on the bottom there, hopefully you can see that. So there we go. So we now want to obviously set the bottom hook first. So the end of your dongle, your dongle ring, put that into your bait clip, secure that in there we go. And then it's important that you crimp the very bottom crimp first, because that is going to give you the tension. As I say, I'm not sure whether you can see this properly, guys, but anyway, you get the idea. So again, you don't want this, your hook length here, this is got to be tight. So pull it, keep hold of your lead, pull it, there we go, crimp. So now you can see that now is tight, completely tight. And then of course then when you've obviously got your top snood, that comes down obviously onto your cascade swivel here. So what we do then is I like to so the bottom crimp is now crimped in place. The top crimp I like to just leave a couple of mil. There we go, just a little couple of mil, so we've got a little bit of movement there for the cascade swivel. So that now is your bottom, that's your bottom hook set, as you can see. Tight into the clip, tight there, 2 crimps either side of them 2 beads, we're sorted. Right, so now what we want to do is we take the top dongle, we put it into the cascade swivel. There we go. And again, the bottom crimp, remember, always do your bottom crimp first. Pull it up so that spring's under tension. Crimp. And there we go. So all that tension now, and then what I can do is then, is the top swivel, I usually just, what, half an inch maybe away from your beads, because that spring is under tension. So when that obviously releases, the spring's going to spring up, your 2 beads are going to move up, etc. So there we go. It is all clipped. Springs under tension. Tension's all the way through here, your snood line. Clipped onto your cascade swivel. All the way down. So all the tension now is mainly on your hook lengths. All the way through, all the way clipped up. And it's as easy as that. And then as soon as that hits the water, that pops off. There we go, you've got a free flowing hook length there on the bottom. Both hook lengths above the lead. People say, oh, why have you got both hook lengths over the lead? But when you're fishing on a beach with this rig, there's absolutely no problem at all. And in fact, on the last session, most of my rays came on this top one here. So as you can see, you know, there's about half an inch here now from obviously where the bottom of my dongle is to the cascade swivel. And when you're clipping this up, it's always important to remember, you always do your bottom one first. So always put your bottom one into your splashdown or your whatever clip you're using. Always clip that one up first. And then your next one, what you do is you pull it down, that spring's under tension, gives it that constant load right the way through. It's as easy as that. So there we go. Right, so I'll bring you back into the kitchen. We'll try and get a better and a closer look at this, okay. So there we go. As you can see, with the weight on, the whole length of that rig now is pretty much the same size as me. I'm 5'11", and that is giving me, obviously there's a bit of a gap here between the first crimp and these swivels, so you can cut it down if you like. And then we've got 2 hook lengths of around about 2 foot. Absolutely ideal. So if we just take a quicker look, closer look if we can. And let me just keep it all under tension just so I can show you. You've got your power swivel there at the top. Coming down to your crimp. Hopefully that's in shot. Your crimp. 2 beads either side of your swivel. Your spring that's under tension. Another crimp. And then we come all the way down then. All the way down the hook length. We've got 3/0 circle on your dongle. and as you can see, that there is on the cascade swivel, keeping that all under tension. And then we just do that. Doesn't matter if that comes loose now anyway, but there we go, and that's all the way down now. And there we go, into the splashdown. It's really easy. As I say, the main thing to remember is keeping those two hook lengths under tension. Not to cut your hook lengths too long. Always, put them on last, cut them down to size. And there we go. And that is the rig that not only myself, but the likes of Jay, I know a lot of anglers down south use it as well. And it's bringing a lot of success. So give it a go, guys. I hope you found this useful. Give it a go and let me know how you're getting on. Take care.